Good afternoon. I'm Dennis Young. I'm founder of Issues in Education. And we're here in Chicago at the annual conference of III. And I'm very fortunate to have with me Ronald Madlock, who's the Assistant Director of Government Relations for the Illinois Association of School Boards. Thanks.
At the Illinois Association of School Boards, we really advocate for the local control of school boards, right? So when we have mandates come down, particularly unfunded mandates, we really have to point a close eye to it. And we try to avoid those because those unfunded mandates put our school districts in a tough position.
Sure.
You ask for extra time, you ask for extra curriculum, you ask for all these extra things, but those things come at a cost. They come at a cost of time. They also come at a cost financially. Facilities need to stay open longer, sometimes on Saturdays, right?
Right.
We also, if you're asking for extra curriculum, then we're talking about textbooks. We're talking about also professional development. When we have our teachers deliver content, we want them to be as knowledgeable as possible. And so that we need money for that training, right? We need money for those things. And unfortunately, we see an abundance of mandates come down that are unfunded. And at IASB, that's what we try to advocate against, because on the other side of them not being funded, like I mentioned before, they take away local control from the school boards. School boards are there in the local community. They have a pulse on their people, their schools, their school district, and we want to make sure that they are directing the education for their students.
It's interesting. I've spoken to about a dozen superintendents today. And when it comes to mandates, what's really interesting is kind of the history of what's led up, such as the No Child Left Behind.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very big mandate.
Yes.
Where are we with that? Have we passed that by, or where does that stand?
Right now, we're looking at ESSA, Every Student Succeeds Act, and there has been, a lot of movement in that area so far as our tier system, tiering schools. Hey, you're a tier 1 school, you're a tier 2 school, which also affects our funding and things like that, which speaks to also, our evidence-based funding model and things of that nature. So we're, as a state, transitioning into really the ESSA era.
So how does the state determine kind of the fairness, the allocation of that mandate money? Because the money is much smaller than it's expected.
Absolutely.
So how do you allocate that? Is it based on attendance? What's it based on?
Well, when we talk about an evidence-based funding model, if I'm not mistaken, we take into account about 30 different evidence points that help come up with a figure. Those different points go to the effectiveness of teaching and things like that. And we also take into account what the local area is able to fund itself in its education, things like that. So all those things are taken into account before a figure is proposed. And then, like I mentioned before, then we get into that tier system. Ones that are grossly underfunded, we put those in tier 1, which happens to be about 50 to 51% of the school districts, and then we go down from there. So the tier 3 schools, they receive the lowest amount, is because most of them are funded adequately already.
Okay.
So.
Well, since mandates is truly what the term says, it's mandated.
Right.
You don't have a choice.
Right, absolutely.
You don't have a choice. So what advice would you give current boards of education when it comes to mandates? I mean, because they have to do it. They're going to do it whether they get the funding with it or not. And usually there are some penalties attached, some strings attached if you don't follow through with the mandates.
Absolutely.
They'll take money away from you someplace else.
Absolutely.
So what's your advice to them?
Well, first of all, I would just like to thank all of our members, our school board members. We have over 800 school boards, a part of our association, and I just want to thank them for allowing us to advocate on their behalf.
Okay.
We have a very active school board membership population. They come to us with their thoughts about their ideas and how they want legislation to go and what they want us to be against and for. And I think that's the most powerful thing that they can do, is to get involved, because our members are involved with us, letting us know directly what's important to them, what they want to see from us, and the voice that they want us to carry to Springfield. But our members are also in the fold and also out there advocating to their local and also state representatives as well. And we really, really like that about our membership. They do a great job of it. We keep them in the loop, they keep us in the loop, but they're always advocating on their behalf as well. So I think that for my time in legislation and working in congressional offices, we've always found that to be the most telling of how we're doing. What do our constituents think? And if school boards are out there doing exactly what they're doing, which is making their voice heard, I think that's the best thing they can